Peace, y'all. Peace and love. Welcome to Find Your Free. I am Imara Ifa Wuyi, and today I'm excited. I am going to be spending time headed down to the outskirts of the city, what we call the periferia, the periphery, where most of the folks, the brown folks, live. I have some friends, a brother friend of mine named Bishop from New Jersey, and he's been living here in Brazil for over 10 years and has been married for most of that time to a lovely sister named Nina, and they have a hip-hop group by the name of Umsoh. And so I'm going to be getting some footage at their first album release that they're going to do at their house before the big one. They did just release an album called Laundromat, Long Journey. And yeah, I was blessed. I got to sing on the last track on that actual album, and I was really fortunate that they included me. And I'm looking forward to, getting some interviews and some footage of the event today. It's going to be live music and just, enjoyment with friends and family, right? And just celebrating, this long-held dream of theirs to be able to, put an album out here for the world to see, right? So it's a blessing, and hopefully y'all will get to see a little bit of the expat community here, and those who have been living here long term, as well as some amazing Brazilian folk. All right, and in this video, I'm going to show you guys an event I went to yesterday to celebrate Junina. I mentioned it on the last video, and Junina is just a really special holiday here in Brazil, and it's happening right during the World Cup, so there's a lot of celebratory energy in the air here right now. And we had a wonderful time at the event. It was family-friendly, alcohol-free, thousands of people just dancing, eating, the festive foods that they eat during the Junina celebrations, and it was really wonderful. So I am going to show some of that and chop it up with y'all and just, discuss some of the things that we experienced this weekend. And I'm super excited about my event, so yeah. So right now though, y'all, I am out at the laundromat here. It's called a lavanderia. And I'm gonna show y'all a little bit of how we do laundry. So I have a washing machine in my apartment that has a dryer component to it that it's not working. So I'm out here drying our bedding right now. And this is about a 10-minute walk from my house. And in Brazil, things like this are quite simple. You come into the lavanderia and they usually have, 5, 6, 7 different units. And all you have to do is come, bring your American credit card or debit card or whatever. You choose, which of the machines you want to use. So for instance, secadora 3, lavadora 3, lavadora. And yeah, they're all numbered. And then you come here and you pay on the little machine. You choose if you want a dryer or a washer. And you go ahead and pay. It's about 19 reais. So, about $3.50 for a dry session, right? And yeah, you just come and you turn the washer or dryer on, and that's it. 45 minutes. These machines work really well. It's a nice, comfortable space. It's also really nice when there's not a ton of people here, because obviously there's not a lot of machines. But yeah, that is how, when I do need to come out for laundry, usually we just hang dry. But for stuff like blankets and stuff, it can be a little hard to get that done, especially because right now we're in winter here in Brazil. So winter time, it's beautiful today, but it's still like in the, maybe low 70s or something like that in Fahrenheit. So it gets colder than that here in the winter, but not a lot. Like I would say, I have never felt it be as cold as like winter in Georgia. So, it's not to that degree. This is a tropical country. So for most of the country, things stay quite temperate. But yeah, here in the South, it's not, full on blaze all the time like it is somewhere like Bahia, which is in the northern part of the country. So yeah, I'm gonna get this done and then I'm gonna start preparing to head out. I gotta take the train and I'm gonna do some Uber, some train, and some walking to get to my people's place because they do live about an hour and a half from here with transportation, so they're not close. But I definitely wanted to be a part of the event today, and again, you know, it was a project that I, you know, played a small part in. So yeah, I'm gonna go and celebrate with them. And here we are. We reached the train station the next day. We are in the outskirts of the city, what they call periphery. Right. Getting ready for the event. So this is Brandon on the drums and Bishop with the mic. And then the brother to the right is the cameraman, the videographer that's filming the event today. I'm here in the hammock. And we're getting ready for my folks' little get-together to celebrate the release of their album, Longa Jornada. And looking forward to it. Nobody's really here yet, but we're waiting on the DJ and some folks to arrive. And yeah, it's going to be a great evening. You get to meet some of the community here, some of the expats that live here. Right now, my brethren, Brandon and Bishop, are here. They're both Americans that have been long-term here in Brazil. So yeah. Mic check, mic check, mic check, 1, 2. Woo! Yo, this shit, you see like that, you say, let's go. Right now, we're just waiting for folks to arrive, getting ready, getting all the sounds on point. I love the fact that there was a videographer there to capture everything, because it really is a blessing to come together with community around music and, you know, celebrating each other's achievements and all of that. So I was happy to be there. We definitely are planning on doing more of these events under the Black Gringo brand that Brandon and Jordan are launching, that we're all going to be helping as a community of Black expats or, you know, foreign folks living here in Brazil. And yeah, we're excited. So this is a little behind the scenes, and you can just check out how we do down here in São Paulo. Right now, we're not being serious, just mic checking and warming things up. But yeah, it definitely ended up being an amazing evening. Yeah, here's Jordan's mother-in-law, his wife's mother. She's so fun and funny, and she loves to dance. So, yeah, definitely some family vibes in the place.
But I promise I was never heated. That's all I ever needed to keep myself alive. Just living enough now, but these sentences they giving to us is cool to survive. But I want to drive and live it up. Move on the ground, we get tough. If you ain't fall down, time for getting up, and things come slow. Do you wonder
Bishop is definitely a Jersey cat, so he's, you know, got that hip hop in his being, and you know, I always appreciated. I grew up as a hip hop head myself. All the time, through the ups and downs, gotta stay on the grind, on the grind. Yeah. This was definitely a collective event. Everybody helping out, supporting, trying to get things organized. So we definitely had a good time. Hey, this is my boy Brandon here. What's up, Brandon? We're here preparing for the event, and I just want to ask you a few questions, you know, about your time here in Brazil. How long have you been out here?
I've been out here for almost 3 years.
Long time, good long time in Brazil. And you know, what's your vibes? What are you up to here in São Paulo?
What I like out here in São Paulo is like, it'd be a lot out here, a lot of good things though.
What are you up to? What you been doing though?
What you been doing out here? I'm making music. I'm out here making music with a lot of Brazilians, making a lot of connections with a lot of musicians, a lot of artists, a lot of composers and producers.
Dope.
So that's what I'm out here doing.
All right.
You know, I mean, Jordan and Lena, part of that.
Yep, he just produced the release, their first album, Longa Jornada. Hey. So Brandon, where are you from? Like, where were you at before you came out here in the U.S.?
I was living in Oakland, California before I came out here.
Okay.
I was there for 11 years. There for a long time.
Yes, you were. Yes, me and Brandon have that in common. I, as well, was living in the Oak Town.
Ooh,
yeah,
the
man.
town.
So how do you, like, if you would compare the music scene here to the music scene in California and Oakland, what would you say?
It's very similar. It's kind of similar because the way Oakland kind of views R&B is kind of the way they view samba out here. So there's so many different forms of R&B going on in Oakland, and there's so many different forms of samba being made out here in São Paulo.
Ooh, dope. Yeah, so you feel like São Paulo is very samba oriented.
Well, it's like that kind of mixture between R&B and like samba, because you're putting in like all these rhythms, all these different rhythms over like the R&B kind of smooth flow. So it's like it just merges and becomes its own thing.
Is that the pagode or?
No, it's more like kind of like the Lineker type stuff.
Lineker,
Like that type stuff. And that's like really big out here in Brazil. But it's just the same way like how R&B is really big in the States. Like everybody's doing some different form of R&B. You got trap R&B. You got all these different forms of like where people are just, I think it's just kind of an expression of people going like a more musical route with like their content or like their singing. I didn't want to call it singing because it's like rapping too. So,
yeah, trap R&B, and so they mix them. They love R&B out here. They love the soul classics. Yeah. Yes, Brandon is a very professional drummer out here. He be playing with everybody, boy. We got a little taste of America here in São Paulo, Brazil. Give thanks. Well, I appreciate you.
To be here.
Yeah, man. You having a good experience here in Brazil thus far?
I am having a great experience. I love Brazil. I've been wanting to come here since I was in middle school, honestly.
Wow. Well, when you were in middle school, I was here. Probably. Yeah, because you were probably in middle school when I was here my first time, 20-something years ago. Yeah, so dope. Well, thank you so much.
You were living my dream.
Okay.
I see.
And it's been my dream to live here since then, so I'm grateful.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for talking to me. Still in setup mode here. The DJ has arrived. I believe, engineer or the brother that was, making sure all the sound was on point arrived. And yeah, these brothers, the brother here in the beige cap, is a stateside brother married to a Brazilian woman. Lovely sis. So, and then there is Lena, the queen of the house. There's two queens in the house, but Lena is the wife of Bishop. So she is the other half of Umsoh. She's a dope MC, singer, and she's a loctician and has a business.
Okay, for sure.
Oh, yay!
Vamos lá então. 3, 2,
salve galera, aqui é Umsoh. Hoje estamos gravando um vídeo, um trabalho belíssimo de audiovisual.
That's right, we're recording a video, a beautiful video, audio visual.
Com as nossas músicas do novo álbum, do nosso... E aqui é Umsoh, Lena Silva Bishop. Hoje vamos gravar o álbum Longa Jornada.
With Vulcans. Today we are here with Vulcans and we are recording a beautiful audio visual. It's wonderful. We got Vulcans here, we got Alberto, we got D-Ski, we got DJ Anderson, and we got Brandon, the drum wisdom. And we're here, we're gonna make a really, really nice video.
Uma equipe top, gente, com Vulcans nas lentes. Aguardem, tem novidades por aí.
Se fosse um tipo de palavra, dá pra regravar no mix e o Alberto só vai focar em outra pessoa.
Eu tô falando todos os artistas, Jordan. Mas sim, temos a Imara, que é uma das vocalistas do Extremamente Beautiful, uma voz belíssima, a Imara. Tem Beto no Feel the Vibes. Esperamos fazer um show completo com todas as músicas e todos os participantes.
Eu gosto.
Vai ser top.
Vou tentando.
É isso. Vamos começar?
Vamos! Translate, you get home, this is my head, you be alone, this is powerful music, you can feel it in your soul.
Calma, não acabou. Só uma pausa e já querem bater palmas. Me pergunto se é um jeito sutil de me tirar do palco. É feminino, energia com salto. Branco muito preto, variável sutil, quase saindo. Que vem, pessoal.
Bonito, imagine me jumping around, wearing my boxes that see through on the people with all the things that I was playing with my niggas. They can prepare for a swift exit. Look, my life is an action movie mixed with a stick got special from Netflix, which means I'm just trying to survive. I had a last laugh. They say I'll do it first and then cry later. Even got it tatted on my arm, but I'm trying to go against the norm. Last long like an hour later, far from the haters.
Muito longe da inveja que habita em todos nós. Inveja vira ódio quando acha seu porta-voz. Surge os ritos, representar o amor. Fica a dica, não perca seu tempo atrás de um anel. Tipo flor, que é só metal precioso, nossa aliança é real. Lealdade acima de tudo fortifica a união. Quem é Umsoh? Rap, R&B, soul. No show, levanta a mão e grita ho. Sente o flow, se não entende o que a gente falou.
You ain't that shit, translate.
You know, this is powerful music, you can feel it in your soul, baby. In your soul, in your soul.
Yo.
You can feel it in your soul.
I'm resting, I'm resting. I can't double resting like I'm swimming in the ocean. I'm hoping and thinking when I'm fulfilling.
Muito longe da inveja que habita em todos nós. Inveja vira ódio quando acha seu porta-voz. Surge uns líderes leopoldos. Tem gente que não entende que Bishop é meu esposo. Não temos joias que dizem representar o amor. Fica a dica, não perca seu tempo atrás de um anel.
Tipo frango.
É só metal precioso, nossa aliança é real. Lealdade acima de tudo fortifica a união.
Quem é Umsoh? Happy, R&B, soul.
No show, levanta a mão e grita ho. Sente o flow, se não entende o que a gente falou.
You ain't catch it, translate. You get home.
Não temos joias que dizem representar o amor. Fica a dica, não perca seu tempo atrás de um anel.
Tipo frango.
É só metal precioso, nossa aliança é real. Lealdade acima de tudo fortifica a união. Quem é Umsoh? Happy, R&B, soul. No show, levanta a mão e grita ho. Sente o flow, se não entende o que a gente falou. Estamos sempre juntos. Às vezes quero meu espaço preciso. Precisamos pra conviver por tantos anos.
Technology that got those parallels. Used to get the band, used to hit the bars, and it really took control. That's no way. I didn't know I had to settle down for someone to fit the mold. I had to get the yo, here we go.
You can feel in your
Feeling deep in your soul.
You can feel in your soul.
Da da
Da da da. You can feel in your soul.
Feel it deep in your soul. Those that don't know me, I have many faces like many folders. See one day when I'm off the wish that I can just feel it. Now all the women be taking to get with me. I don't have to go to the club and never say I'm just because you get it to me. like it. So all we had to do was lay back. Then she said, take the rubber off. I said, homie, don't play that. And turned me off on it, listening to rap. Now here a couple. I'm a quiver. I hate in the beat, come around you always a fun. I'm a bomber, I'm a hustler. I let them honey stack. Damn, brother, where your money at? I'm a player, I'm a pimp. I think that I put it down.
I'm just a regular guy.
Chegaremos a 100 anos, talvez em 50. Tá tão quente, sem nada, não tem ninguém que aguenta. Mas isso não ajeita, criar uma vida que não se sustenta. Brinca por pouco, vai aumentar a violência e te protege no corpo. Achei.
I want you by my side. And that's what you should do, like the struggle, baby. And the struggle makes you beautiful. Everything you want in this life, feeling good in the tongue. It's a grind, and I'm all for mine. Steady progress. And that's what you should do, like the struggle, baby. And the struggle.
All right, we just reached the Festa Junina event that I'm meeting my homegirls at. And as you can see, it's brightly decorated. Again, like I mentioned in the last video, Junina is a time when they are just celebrating, kind of like a harvest celebration. It's really popular in what they call the Cerrado of Brazil, the interior. And so these are some of the foods. This is a pamonha. It's made from corn. Here are some of the lovely folks I was with that day. My son. We had a good time. We were just chilling. You know, even though it might not be the kind of music and the things we're used to, it's still great to go out and have experiences of different, you know, cultural realities. Here they're doing some what they call like a type of square dancing, and then you see there's the maypole in the backdrop there. So they do like a dance around that pole, right? So this is like a real harvest type of celebration, community celebration. And they actually ended up getting rained out right after they started the huge square dancing exercise and the pole dance, but everyone was having so much fun up until the rain came. But hey, that's life in a tropical country, right? So as you can see, it's full of children, elders, all kinds of folks, different ages, different energies. This was, again, an alcohol-free event, so everybody was, you know, probably pretty sober and just enjoying the energy.
De russo na boate Cosaco, parecia até frevo naquele caim. Ontem sonhei que estava em Moscou, dançando um pagode russo na boate Cosaco. Tchau, bela, tchau, tchau, tchau. Agora que amor, redancei dele. Guardiano, porta-me via. E bela, tchau, bela, tchau, bela, tchau, tchau, tchau. Guardiano, porta-me via. Não mandei ser que morri. E se levou pela montanha. Bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, 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 se ne voglio, bella montagna.
Bora, bora! Gera liderança aí!
One thing about Brazil, you'll see all the folks coming together to celebrate and enjoy together, so it's not as like segregated in a certain type of way, like the way the United States can be, even though, I mean, you know, it has its aspects. It's definitely a racist society, but you do see in celebratory situations, you just see everyone coming together, because one thing they all like to do is have fun, right? And then this is a community here. This is my girl Chris's community. So you know, all of these people, you know, come up together and live in the same community for their whole lives, and they know each other, and their children know each other, and it's just a very, again, this is outside of the actual central city where they actually have like community, you know. So it's still urban, but it's not like here in the central city where I live, which is a little more, you know, it's like more urbanized, a little more disconnected in a certain type of way. Here are my girls doing the Correio Elegante, which is a part of the Junina celebration where you send little notes to people that you think are cute in the crowd through these little couriers. It's very cute. But of course, there's always going to be some drums whenever you do anything here. Some art as well. So some beautiful wall art. And yeah, this is the spot. We had a good time. They had the flags up, they decorated, everybody joined in to decorate and prepare for the event. It was really lovely. This is one of the rhythms called maracatu from Pernambuco, Brazil, up north. That is, you know, one of the various rhythms. One thing about Brazil, they have a lot of different musical rhythms, and so this is that. So the youth are playing the maracatu up the hill where they're going to light the fire, because bonfires are a part of the tradition as well. I'm going to talk a little bit about moving out here and how to build community in this environment. I had the camera turned around so you won't see me, but please listen to my words. Good morning. It is a beautiful Tuesday. There's a lot going on in the world right now, but I wanted to talk a little bit about, you know, building community here in Brazil. I, you know, showed y'all a bunch of footage of some events that I went to this weekend, some things I was doing around town. And, you know, one of the things that's really super important to me is to feel a sense of, you know, togetherness with other people on a regular basis. I just think it's part of what, you know, really enhances your humanity and makes you feel, you know, more a sense of belonging in a place. And so here in São Paulo is not the most popular location for African Americans and Black folk who are looking for, you know, a wonderful place to move and live and have a quality of life. But what I have found is that I have been able to achieve a really great community, while small, here in São Paulo, of not just African Americans and expats, but also Brazilian people. And it's been amazing. And so some of the clips that you saw there of me with my peoples at their album release, that was a combination of, you know, Black Americans, Brazilians, and just a conglomeration, you know, of just different peoples coming together around music, around friendship, and just building relationships. And anywhere you're gonna go in this world to go live, to try to find a better quality of life, that is gonna be high on the list, because I have realized that, you know, as I was slowly building this community, sometimes I would miss the one that I had in the Virgin Islands. Hola. In the Virgin Islands. The Virgin Islands, it was a small island on St. Croix is where we were. And so it was easier to just kind of connect with people and build in that way. And so for the first year or two here, I was like slowly building relationships, but it's still, you know, you would have that sense of kind of loneliness, not really having close peoples like that. You know, I'm used to having my sister friends to build with, to talk to connect with, to dance with. But over time here, I have seen more and more just amazingly beautiful relationships. I mean, my gosh, I have some lovely friends out here. And you know, that is super important. Like, especially if you're gonna be traveling with family, you have to be able to make sure that your children are able to tap in and feel a sense of belonging. You don't want them to feel isolated, because that, you know, that leads to depression and other things that you just do not want your children to have to go through, you know. And so it's really important that we really focus on community building wherever we go. And that might mean, you know, volunteering to help with different things. Sometimes I help out with my boys when they're doing events around music and different things like that. As you saw, I have participated in the recording of that album by Umsoh called Laundromat. I did some singing the other night too, as you saw. And, you know, we just do what we can to create relations. So I want to talk today about some of the things that you can do to build relationships in a environment where you don't really know people. Okay, so for those who are looking to travel abroad, they're looking to move abroad, they're worried about their sense of community, I'll tell you a little bit about how I have gone about it in most of the places that I have lived. For me, as someone who's a creative, you know, I make sure that I get myself immersed in some kind of aspects of the dance scene wherever I am, because dancing is something spiritual, is something that is connected. And because of the type of dance I do, which is social or folkloric, it allows me to connect with people, you know, in a more intimate way in that environment. So finding the things that you like to do. If you are someone who's into martial arts, finding a community of martial artists and tapping into that, you know, practicing with them regularly, going to the little events and different things that they may have as a group outside of just practicing and training. These are all really good ways to connect deeper in the community and do it around the things that you are passionate about, because that's when your energy is going to be the highest. That's when you're going to have the best vibes. That's when you're going to feel the most open, right? And so it allows that intimacy to build deeper with those connections. Another thing that is important or good to do if you can, like for instance, Brazil has a lot of group chats that you can be a part of, where you can network inside of those group chats. For instance, we have a Black Expats network in Brazil WhatsApp group that's kind of a spinoff of the Facebook group that's been going on. Both of them have been going on for years. And these are places where you can ask questions, you can make connections, you can get tips and resources and hacks for how to maneuver somewhere like Brazil, for instance. And I think that these are, valuable resources, especially when you first get here. I mean, once you have established yourself a little bit of stuff, I think the relationships and connections start to develop more naturally through the places that you're visiting and frequenting. But that you can't sleep on the power of these social groups and these online groups. And it's so easy. You can do it right from your phone, right? So that is one way to make connections, and that will help you to make connections not only with, people from home, from the US or wherever you're from, but also with local folks, because they also be in the groups, connecting and networking, or maybe marketing their English classes or their Portuguese classes, or any of the things that they know that folks like us, when we come from other countries, are going to want and need. I know women who do locks, they're locticians. And so you'll see a lot of women who are doing things on Black hair in these groups. So this is how you will network. This is how you're going to find and access resources, okay? Definitely don't sleep on the groups. Something else that I think is really good, especially here in São Paulo, they have a network of kind of like community centers, but they're more than community centers. They're performance venues. They're spaces that have, everything you could ever need, from Olympic-sized pools to gyms to art classes, music classes, regular live music events, regular dance events, theaters, all of that. And they'll be all in one place. One of these systems, is a private entity called SESC, and they have these units all over São Paulo. I know SESC is in other regions too, but definitely São Paulo has a lot of SESC. And you would want to tap into those places. That's somewhere where you're going to be able to go and connect with, in particular, Brazilians, because mostly it's Brazilians in those spaces. And it's just a vibe. You have a range of things you can get involved in. Yes, you may have to set up a membership, which should be okay and easy to do if you still have, if you have residency, if you have your CPF, if you have what they call R&M or RNE, which is a number that you get as a resident. So yeah, if you come here and you're planning on staying here, I highly suggest that you get involved in SESC, in the local community venues and community centers where people collaborate, they play sports, they connect, they do music, they record music. And SESC is just one group. There are other cultural centers, they call them, and different places like that here. And there's several of them all over the city. So it's really a blessing, because it does allow you to get in. And it'd be really good to find one in your local neighborhood that you can visit and frequent, because those are your neighbors, those are your peoples, those are the people in your hood, right? So all of that is, I think, a good practice for, being able to get out there and make connections. And once you make connections with Brazilians, even if you don't connect in with as many of the folks that are living here from the US and other countries, once you connect and make those relationships with Brazilians, they're really solid, loving relationships. These are extremely nice people, good people. And so, but it takes time to build with them, because they're from here. They're used to speaking in Portuguese, they're used to their friend groups. And so to be invited into a friend group and to connect with Brazilians is a special thing, because they are really kind, okay, overall, as a people. So that's one thing I can say. The women, lovely, lovely women. You hear so many men, talking about wanting to come to Brazil to find women and all this stuff. And they have all these lower nature ideas about the women here, but really the women are top tier, beautiful, kind souls, most of them. And so I understand, the draw but I also feel like folks need to be appreciating them more for just the levels of kindness that you experience interacting with a lot of them, and less so all of the physical nonsense that I know a lot of the passport bros will be talking about. So that is another really good way to get connected here, especially in São Paulo. Again, we're in a major metropolitan area. You just walking up the street and doing things is not going to really help you make connections, because people just, at the end of the day, people keep to themselves mostly. Sometimes you'll find some extremely friendly ones, but it's still a major urban area. People still have a tendency to keep to themselves unless something really catches them. Or you know what I mean? You just naturally see each other a lot and start talking or whatever. So they're very friendly people, but maybe in this region, a little more closed off until you really start connecting. So yeah, that's something to consider. Also, one of the things here in Brazil that you'll find is that you'll find that music is everything, right? Music is life here. So participating in things like carnival groups, they have what they call blocos. And if you participate in the carnival groups and you're going to their rehearsals and practices, and you start to feel a part of that group, you're wearing their paraphernalia, you're practicing, rehearsing with them to prepare for carnival every year, and you're going to all of their practices and just really a part of the group. You can drum with them, you can play bell with them, you can dance. They will let foreigners in their blocos and in their groups. So that is a really amazing way, especially as a Black person, because there are so many beautiful Black groups, who strut in beautiful African attire and play drums and are very, very roots. If you can find one of those groups to participate in, that is a good way to build connections, and especially in the brown community. Because again, like I've been telling y'all, São Paulo is interesting. São Paulo is interesting because originally it was like a very Black city, the city center itself. And then over time, there was, levels of gentrification and forced removal and all of that has happened. And sadly, that has been the story. But what it has done is put a lot of most of the Black folk in the periphery of the city, so they're not necessarily living in the center of the city. So they have commutes to come in. So they're usually going to come in for the purposes of, maybe work or even possibly just for the purpose of maybe, going out to an event or something like that. But there is a limitation because it's far and they'd have to pay for expensive Ubers, or they'd have to ride the train for an hour and a half to come back into the city. So, São Paulo is it's interesting because the whole metropolitan area, you have this center that is, quite nice. There are parts of it that are super urban, not green like the part I live in. But, a nice city that has a lot of things, access to a lot, really convenient, lots of arts, lots of dope events and things to attend. But then you have the outskirts where it's people who, may not have as much financial and social capital, and are living in the outskirts communities where I know a lot of them live on like unincorporated land, which, really means it's like they didn't necessarily pay a mortgage for where they're at or anything like that. Like they're living in places where they were kind of pushed to, and it's out. And this is just part of, kind of the racist practices of this country over the years after they utilized the labor of the brown people and the Black people. And so you have to understand that, in a lot of ways, Brazil has a similar story to America and the Caribbean and other parts of the world. And maybe it's not exactly the way it's been told to us, but at the end of the day, when that process of trying to use them for unpaid labor and all of this stuff wrapped up, there wasn't any real effort to balance things out redistribute, all of the wealth or anything like that. So those imbalances are still very much in place here, okay, in this country. And Black folk, it's hard for them to move up socially and financially here, very much so. And so it's a different story. I was talking to a sister the other day at the event, at the album release event that I showed y'all earlier in the video. And she was talking about, and she is a scholar. She's an African Black Studies professor in the U.S., but she's actually Afro-Brazilian, and she's married to a Black American guy. And she was like, yeah, your experience is going to be a lot different from local peoples and Afro-Brazilians, because, as soon as a Black person from the U.S. or something opens their mouth and they see you're not from here, it's like their whole energy shifts towards you. Then they kind of low-key respect you more. They think you're American, you're a different type of Black person, or they don't see you as someone that they can kind of lord over or feel better than. And so, when my mouth isn't open, obviously I look Brazilian. They don't know who I am or what I am. But I still personally haven't been mistreated like that here in São Paulo, not too much. The most I've ever had has been going into a store and being ignored or whatever, which is pretty unusual here, because in São Paulo, they're into having a whole lot of workers in a store and they're all bothering you, trying to help you, okay? So when you go into an environment and they're acting like that, either they're just trying to be more hands off or they just snubbing you. So I have had some of that, but I try not to overdo, all the paranoia about that kind of stuff, and just move in my own energy, because at the end of the day, I'm here and I'm gonna do my thing, not letting nothing like that stop me. And so you will have some of that, but the outright racism, as some of you may know, they do have a law against that here. So, for you to get caught even calling someone out their names, implying anything that is racially negating towards them, can get you in a lot of trouble. And so people kind of stay, they kind of check themselves in a certain type of way. I'm not saying the racism isn't real here. It is. It's just more institutionalized. It's built in. And so these are some of the things that you have to understand about coming to Brazil. But needless to say, in terms of building community here is something that can be accomplished. It is doable, and it is wonderful when you accomplish it, because it's a very quality community of Black Americans here, and you just meet so many wonderful people in general. So yeah, Brazil and São Paulo is a really great place for those who, want that large metropolitan experience, that kind of South American New York experience, and want to do it in a relatively safe city. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh my God, it's so rough there. For sure, São Paulo has rough spots, but you can also find places where it's chill. And there's a lot of chill spots too. So yeah, if you're looking for somewhere, like that, you could consider São Paulo. I know most people come to Brazil and they're wanting to go to Bahia. They want to go to Rio. They want to go to the places that are all the hype is around. And I have lived in Salvador, Bahia, and it's as wonderful as you hear. But it also has its challenges too. So you have to kind of just pick and choose. And here I have been able to, make heart connections that are long-term friendships. I know they will be, that I'm so grateful for. And again, when you're living abroad, those things are priceless. They're more important than how much money you have. They're more important than, what kind of apartment or house you stay in. Those relationships are the things that are going to carry you, that are going to help you to really feel a part of something, like not just like some kind of, refugee who's on the run and don't have no peoples, don't have no family, no community. So really consider that aspect of moving here. If you are looking to come this way, and you are, feel like you need your hand held a little bit, you need more support in figuring out things, I can help set up a plan for you, kind of like an escape plan, so that you can come to Brazil and integrate yourself with more ease, right? Because I mean, that's what we all want. If you're looking to move to Brazil and you feel like you need your hand held a little bit, you want some support, you're not sure how things will go, you want to know how to prepare yourself for this experience, for this culture, and for the reality of life here. One of the things that we offer are not only consultations, but also actual plans, escape plans, if you will, to help people to feel like they have prepared themselves, they crossed their T's, they dotted their I's, and they're ready and able to, get through and manage themselves here no matter what comes, because they've already been prepared, they've been exposed to what can happen, and they are, just prepared to go through it. And sometimes when you go in and you haven't done that prep work, when things hit you, it feels overwhelming. You start questioning your decisions. You start wondering if you made the right decision. It can be very detrimental if you don't take the necessary steps and pull on the needed resources. And like they always say, Brazil, I will say, is not for beginners. It's not a country where you just pop in and move here and expect things to flow for you, especially if you don't have Portuguese skills. So the number one thing I would tell people to do is, if you are looking in this direction, you want to start to take classes. Yeah, y'all. So I was saying that, you want to go ahead and get yourself into some Portuguese classes as soon as you can. Before you come out here, it's not an easy language to learn. A lot of people think they can come here speaking Spanish and just pick the Portuguese up, but it's not that easy. While it is great to have some background in Spanish grammar, I think that helps you to pick the Portuguese up. But other than that, you're going to need to get some language skills if you want to really have a good experience here in Brazil. And it's not mandatory, but it helps a lot. As well, some of the other things that I would just say is, just keeping an open mind and just being open to, different ways of doing things, different cultures, not coming out here too closed-minded or trying to, insert your energy and your background and culture into everything all the time and think everything should be catering to you because you're American or wherever you're from. So these are all really important ways that you can come and build and connect with people and have authentic connections. And again, for those who are looking for some help, for those who are looking for, some support, we do offer our consultations. Again, the links are below. And we offer tours. We can show you the city a little bit, especially in terms of the art scene and some of the street art, and give you a little culinary experience too, take you to experience the Afro-Brazilian food, which is very unique and delicious. And those are some of the things that we're doing out this way. And, what I just suggest to people is, do your research, really look into Brazil, get to know it, understand it's not just girls, in samba outfits. Like, it's a whole country. There's tons of indigenous culture here, Afro culture. It's very black, but you have to know how to maneuver with that, because sometimes, especially coming to São Paulo, it's not on the surface of Black City. But then when you dig a little deeper, you find out just how brown it is, okay? And there's a lot of great things to do and experience here. And I just think everyone should give Brazil a chance. What else can I talk about? Thanks for watching. If you watched all the way through, please put a like on the video and help us out with that. Drop a comment. It helps a lot. with the algorithm. And yeah, subscribe to the channel, stay tuned. We're gonna be doing hopefully in the next week I have an interview set up with a sister who is again, I think I mentioned her in this video already. She is here visiting. She lives in the US, but she is Afro-Brazilian, and she is a professor at San Diego State, and I want to build with her about you know, what it's like in terms of the experience of, you know, being Black in the US compared to, you know, the experience here, and what the differences are, and what, you know, her overall takeaway is from having spent, you know, many years in the US, though she grew up here in Brazil. And I think it's a good perspective to get from someone who, you know, is a Black studies teacher, and you know, is used to presenting information and educating people on the Black experience just in general, you know. So I'm hoping that will be great. We're going to start doing more interviews on this channel and just connecting more with our community and bringing them into some of our videos, just so you can see and experience the liveliness and the vibe and all the good energy that is here. And hey, if you feel drawn, you know, this might be a good place for you. I think a lot of people have really happy experiences and good positive experiences when they live in Brazil, and pretty much everyone I know, when they leave, they're just craving to get back out here. So it's a wonderful country. It's a complicated country, but overall the quality of life is worth it. All right, y'all, so give thanks for coming through. Peace and love.